welcome to this edition of the Power Circuit program, brought to you by the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. This utility company will continue to keep you informed about its mandate of managing the national electricity grid and wheeling bulk power nationwide. U.S. Ambassador Holt's Minister of Power says U.S. is committed to partnerships for Nigeria's power sector. Federal government moves to acquire service helicopter for power transmission line maintenance repairs. Meanwhile, on the interview segment, the project manager for the African Development Bank, AFDB-funded projects of TCN, Engineer Haruna Runka, will be discussing the Nigerian Transmission Expansion Project implementation efforts under the unit. I am Amara Agugesi, and this is the Power Circuit. The ambassador of the United States to Nigeria, Ambassador Mary Beth Leonard, has played host to the Minister of Power, Engineer Saleh Maman, at her residence, saying the United States is committed towards robust partnerships that could improve Nigeria's power sector.
Ambassador Leonard, who hails from the state of Massachusetts, while commending the current strides in the Nigerian power sector, reiterated the willingness of the United States to partner with Nigeria on its ongoing reforms in the power sector. Responding, the Minister of Power, Engineer Saleh Maman, thanked the ambassador for the honor and restated the commitment of Nigeria's preparedness to work together with the U.S. towards building Africa's largest and most vibrant power sector. Also present at the meeting were the Director General of the Bureau of Public Enterprises, BPE, Dr. Alex Oko, and the Managing Director, Rural Electrification Agency, REA, Mohammed Salhijo.
Determined to have robust and responsive power transmission line maintenance, the federal government is seeking to acquire a state-of-the-art helicopter for the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. We'll bring to you a report on a recent meeting between the officials of TCN and the representatives of Airbus Helicopters Limited.
The head operational marketing Airbus Helicopters, Mr. Christian Fanchini, said he is a helicopter pilot expert and has worked with the company for over 12 years.
I am very honored and very pleased to be here and to share my experience and to try to help you to answer your requirement for completing your mission, your daily mission, safely and efficiently from helicopter.
The sales manager, Airbus Helicopters, Mr. Eric Chochoy, said the meeting was to introduce the products from the company.
Today, for this first meeting, we would like to introduce our product that we can propose you to perform power line mission, and to, I think, our product will answer your expectation and to assist you in your power line objective.
The head Nigerian office of Airbus Group and a retired Air Vice Marshal in the Nigerian Air Force, Victor Tommy Udos, said he was on ground to guide TCN in the process of acquiring the helicopter from the company.
Before I left the Air Force, we have 3 helicopter types from Airbus, and that's where I got introduced to the Airbus, and they still fly Airbus helicopters. So you rest assured that there's somebody to talk to here, even when we've done the presentation and gone ahead, and we can always synergize.
In a presentation, Mr. Chochoy said the company has a long history of quality services.
We are present in 152 countries, which is, let's say, worldwide. We have more than 3,000 operators currently, and 85 of them flying less than 5 aircraft.
Also in a presentation, Mr. Fanchini explained how TCN can successfully use Airbus helicopters to navigate its transmission line network across Nigeria.
The objective is very clear, is to detect and keep the network 100% operational. This is very important, and thanks to this helicopter, because it's a very maneuverable helicopter, very small, you can approach very closely to the line and very safe.
Commenting, the head transmission service provider at TCN, Engineer Victor Adewumi, said TCN has a vision of promoting world-class service while emphasizing on best safety practices. He further outlined the qualities the helicopter to be acquired should possess in order to enable TCN discharge its mandates effectively.
The equipment that can do pictorial, line tracing, that can do scanning, that has infrared capability of detecting for that human being cannot see. Even that has some software developed that when the helicopters scan through the line, you can gather the information, then put it in your software, and then it comes with a wide range of solutions of what you are supposed to do.
On his part, the head independent system operations at TCN, Engineer Maman Lawal, inquired about the maintenance procedure and spare parts availability of the recommended helicopter by the company.
We've talked about spare availability, right? Can we just oppose this? How? I mean, is this something that can be locally solved, or do we have to periodically contact the expert from?
For the spares part, the tools, etc., we provide you with the first aircraft all the necessary spare parts, maintenance, consumable, etc. to perform. We will have to calculate to perform during 1 year, 2 years by yourself, all the necessary stock to perform by yourself.
In an overall comment, after listening with rapt attention to the discussions, the acting managing director of TCN, Engineer Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz, emphasized that TCN needed the best of helicopters because the company is the sole manager of the national power grid.
You know, we are the only company in charge of transmission in the whole country. You can see how big the country is.
Sure. Yeah.
The power circuits continues after this break.
Did you know that our high-tension transmission cables were built to withstand high temperatures except artificially induced ones such as fire? Did you know that burning bush or refuse dumps by TCN transmission tower base or along the transmission line's right-of-way is an offense? Did you know that the fire can cause high-tension transmission lines to snap and fall to the ground, electrocuting living things within the line radius? Did you know that extreme fire can cause the legs of transmission towers to buckle, and that buckling of the main frame of a tower would lead to its collapse and may even pull down other towers along that transmission line's route, causing untold damage to the line? Now that you know. Yes, now that you know, TCN is calling on all citizens of Nigeria to please desist from destroying our collective national investments. Be careful, do not set fire on trash or burn bush beside transmission towers or under electricity lines nationwide. Help us preserve the transmission grid and save the nation from blackout. TCN, transmitting electricity in the most efficient and effective manner.
The management of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN, has pledged its commitment to ensuring that the company continues to deliver bulk power in Maiduguri and its environs, as well as the entire Northeast, despite challenges. Here is more on these reports.
The acting managing director of TCN, Engineer Sule Ahmed Abdulaziz, gave this assurance when he led a TCN delegation to visit Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State. This follows steps by the TCN to fix the vandalized Tower 159 and Towers T160 and T161, which were pulled down along the transmission line route in Borno State recently.
We are here in Maiduguri today to thank His Excellency the Governor for all the efforts he has been putting towards restoring power to Maiduguri and Borno State in general. We came today and we visited our station where we have all the materials available. Our engineers are there waiting. We have everything, the conductors, the towers, the irons, everything, and all the connectors are there. We are assuring His Excellency that within a short period, light is going to be restored in Maiduguri.
Engineer Abdulaziz further noted that on visiting the vandalized transmission line site, all issues that may hinder the progress of work will be resolved.
If there are any issues there, we will resolve the issues before we travel back to Abuja. So inshallah, within the shortest period, we are going to restore light in Maiduguri.
Governor Zulum welcomed the TCN delegation as he assured that support will be provided towards hastening all the works needed to be done by TCN in restoring bulk power delivery to the affected areas in Borno State.
I just want to say you are most welcome. And government under my leadership will provide all the necessary support needed with a view to supplementing the efforts of the TCN as well as the other agencies with a view to restoring power back to Maiduguri within the shortest possible time. But inshallah, after completing this assignment, Borno State government will come up with a position paper to see how we can work with NEPA in order to ensure sustainability in terms of provision of electricity to Maiduguri and its environs. We shall also look beyond Maiduguri. We can see how we can collaborate with you to see other areas that have no power will have access to electricity supply.
The managing director of Yola Disco, engineer Mustafa Baba Umara, encouraged TCN not to relent in its efforts towards delivering on its mandates in the Northeast region.
All the materials are on ground. I believe if the time period of their work is extended from normal 4 to 3 hours to 6 hours on daily basis, I think I will not give a guarantee maybe before next week night will be discussed. Thank you, sir.
Engineer Abdulaziz also led his team to Jankana community near Maiduguri town to inspect the vandalized power transmission line towers, where work was ongoing in earnest to have them fixed. He also said in the meantime there was ongoing work to create a diversion line to immediately restore power supply while the work to fix the transmission towers continues.
You can see the tower that collapsed. So we are all here. We have assigned contractors who are going to work on the tower. We have brought all the materials. We have brought all the people that are going to work here.
He also said in the meantime there was ongoing work to create a diversion line to immediately restore power supply while the work to fix the transmission towers continues.
And in my front here, you can see the Dabashum. Before we can even finish the main towers, we are going to finish the Dabashum first. It's not the only tower. We have 2 more towers ahead. You can see them there.
The TCN has said he was satisfied with the pace of work, noting that the company was doing all it can to swiftly address the situation.
This is the second tower. The third tower is there. People are here. Already we have all the materials and the equipments, and they are going to work on it and make sure that supply is restored. We are satisfied looking at the condition of this area, because you cannot work without security. The military, the police, the civil defense, they are all helping us and they are doing their best. And our workers are coming here every day with the help of the security, and they work every day. So I think we are progressing.
Do you know that vandalizing power infrastructure and stealing its components have negative impact on government's efforts towards improving the nation's power sector? Say no to vandalism. Vandalism leaves TCN with the enormous task of re-erecting and restringing damaged power transmission lines and towers, which cost millions of naira to rebuild. Money that should be used for transmission expansion projects to make increased bulk electricity readily available to electricity consumers through the distribution companies. Do you know that vandals are destroying our common national assets, funded with taxpayers' monies, and negatively impeding our common socio-economic progress? Say no to vandalism. Do not condone vandals, because stealing parts of electricity transmission towers and cables disrupts the transmission of generated power to distribution load centers, threatening the national grid, your comfort, and ultimately the nation's economic growth. So don't just walk away. Be involved. Do something when you observe suspicious activities around transmission installations or even vandals at work. Don't just walk away. Report to any transmission office closest to you or any security outfit around your vicinity. Say no to vandalism. TCN enjoins you to work with us to stop the willful destructions of our collective national assets as we work to transmit increased bulk electricity in the most efficient and effective manner. This message is brought to you by the Transmission Company of Nigeria. TCN, transmitting bulk electricity for national development.
there, you're still onto the power circuit. Today on the interview segment is the project manager for the African Development Bank AFDB funded projects of TCN, Engineer Haruna Runka. Engineer Haruna speaks about his project unit, which is one of the 4 units under the Project Implementation Unit, PIU at TCN. The unit manages the Nigerian Transmission Expansion Project funded by AFDB to improve bulk power transmission capacity by TCN in the eastern region, especially from the Aloji area in Abia State to Onitsha in Anambra State.
For how long have you coordinated these units?
I have been on the saddle of leadership since August 13th. That's precisely about 5 months from now.
What is the role of your project implementation unit?
The African Development Bank Project Implementation Unit is saddled with the responsibility of executing what we call NTEP 1 project. NTEP means Nigerian Transmission Expansion Project. Basically, it's about expanding our transmission lines and then some parts of our substations in some locations within the country.
What are the major steps in project implementation?
It will require scope. After the scope, we now come up to make our own bidding documents that will be used for the entire project. Of course, that is the bidding document that will guide us on how to get a well-coordinated procurement of materials that are needed for this particular project. After the procurement, of course, we have the implementation, and that is where we have our implementation plans. These are what we require basically to make up a good project.
What is the status of the AFDB-funded Nigerian Transmission Expansion Project being managed by the units?
The project, if completed, definitely will see us adding about between 5 to 6 megawatts of electricity into the system based on the project we have right now. And as at now, we are still on the ground level. When I say ground level, we are still trying to make up those basic requirements that are needed to make the project effective. So far, we are doing some environmental studies. Of course, we are almost through the environmental studies. We have achieved, for now, a well-established bidding documents which have been approved by the bank. And of course, we have issued the bidding documents to our pre-qualified contractors. We expect this project to come up signed by 21st of June or thereabout. And that is when we now begin to say the project is effective, and of course we'll continue with the implementation.
What are the challenges the unit has experienced while implementing the project?
African Development Bank Project Implementation Unit is experiencing some challenges. One of those challenges is the fact that in all the areas we are executing this project, particularly issues relating to construction of new lines, people have encroached our lines. Like the one between Alaoji and Onitsha between Anambra and Abia State. We have realized that people have encroached the line greatly, that some buildings have already, been constructed under the right of ways. And that is one of the major reasons why we even want to change the design of the line. What we are constructing now is a line consisting of a cord carrying conductor. And that the issue is the fact that it has been encroached. A lot of compensation will have to be paid. And that is why we now say, okay, let's say if we reduce the right of way from 50 meters to 30 meters, maybe the amount of compensation will reduce drastically. Part of our challenges is the fact that people have encroached our line greatly across all the formations of our project. particularly between Alaoji and Onisha, where we have come across timber market and of course one other market there. Those markets, people have encroached the right of ways, thereby increasing the amount of compensation to be paid, along the line. Instead of paying maybe about 3 billion naira, we will come up paying over 12 billion. Now, because of that, we decided to reduce our right of way from 50 to 30 meters. By reducing it to 30 meters, it means those buildings that have encroached our line will be reduced. The number of compensation will be reduced. And that is one major challenge. Another challenge is this, it's about security. You understand, definitely by the time this project peaks, we may have one or two problems with people around. As it is right now, even as people saw us making survey and of course taking list of people that are likely to be compensated, some others are coming to encroach the line the more, meaning that they believe since at the end of the days they will be given something, definitely they can now come in to build anything under the lines. We may have one or two problems relating to operating vehicles, but I believe by the time the project takes off, finally, by the time our funding comes up, we will not have this kind of problem. But for now, actually, we have vehicle problems. We are managing ourselves just to make sure that we get through to, at the ground level stage of the project.
What motivates you to give your best in implementing projects under this unit?
All along, I had been in project even before coming to TCN. I worked with REB in my state at the time, and of course, I was with the project. I believe a project assists greatly in, adding values to power plants and of course, power system generally. Without projects, without new projects, definitely whatever you have will come to decay and there will be no replacement.
You have heard from the project manager, AFDB-funded projects at TCN, Engineer Haruna Runka, who talked about the power transmission project under his unit and the challenges in his implementation process. You will get to hear more from the other units that handle various multilateral financing agency-supported projects. So keep a date with us in subsequent interview segments. As we close up on this edition, here is a recap of these stories. U.S. Ambassador hosts Minister of Power says U.S. committed to partnerships for Nigeria's power sector. Federal government moves to acquire service helicopter for power transmission line maintenance repairs. In the interview segment, the project manager AFDB-funded projects at TCN, Engineer Haruna Runka, discussed the Nigerian transmission expansion project under his unit and the challenges of encroachment of right-of-way and compensation payments. Thank you for staying with us, always on the Power Circuit program of the Transmission Company of Nigeria, TCN. This episode and all others are available on the TCN YouTube channel. You can keep your views and comments coming on our platforms to support TCN in continually realizing its mandate. TCN wishes you the best always. And remember to adhere to the coronavirus prevention protocol. I am Amara Agugesi. Bye then.